too.
A charm. Yeah, it was weird. We've never had that much latency where it was, a 10-second delay.
Right. Well, we'll figure out. Or maybe he didn't want to do the show. He's just doing like. Um,
For you.
I will kick your ass. All right. So anyway, so you're gonna hang out with Bobby Carlson this weekend?
No, I am not. I
Oh,
have
wait, hold on. You get Black Diamond is where?
well, Black Diamonds actually is playing on Friday.
Thursday, Thursday
No,
or
Thursday next week, but they are playing this Friday.
that's where I'm confused.
I
Okay.
forget about the show because I'm not on that one. We talked about missing gigs. I am
Yeah.
not going to be at that gig. But if you want to see the Black Diamond, they're going to tear it up Friday, Teddy
Okay.
O'Brien's Highwood. That's
All
this
right.
Friday the 9th. I am with them next week.
Got it. Got it. See, that's very confusing. So you have a residency once a month at Wooden Nickel?
Yes.
Got it. Okay, good.
The third Thursday of every
Third
month.
Thursday. Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad. Mosquitoes band been around for 24 years.
Approaching 25.
Oh, hey, you guys gonna do like a birthday party or something?
Nah, we just maybe print some shirts. It's a 25th anniversary.
Dude, where are you gonna do your 25th anniversary show at? That's a big draw, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
See what I'm saying? That's where the marketing comes in. Speaking of
Yeah.
marketing, Tom, how we doing, man?
Good. Is this better?
Yeah.
Yes, it is better. I'll take this versus the
Yeah. Yeah.
what we had before.
Cool.
T Tom Hartman, Booker for the Cubby Bear. He's you have your own company, don't you, Tom?
Yeah. We do a bunch of different venues, lots of different stuff.
Well, what give us a venue, give us stuff.
So we do talent buying and booking for all the QR group venues. So QR Darien Settle up at Q, Heroes West, Joliet and Lamont, Cubby Bear in Wrigleyville, Pins in Yorkville.
Okay.
I work with a ton of festivals, private events, Blue Chip Casino, Four Winds Casino, Gun Lake Casino.
Oh, you got the casinos. We got to get to know this guy, Mike.
Several theaters I work with, park districts, villages, all that fun stuff. So, we're in the throes of festival season right now, so it's
Oh yeah.
a good time. And then we also do production, so audio and lighting for a bunch of events.
Yeah.
Nice.
So somebody says, "Hey, can you put a PA system in?" That's you. You could do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we get a lot of requests to do places that don't have anything and they say, "Do you know anybody?" And Bongo Mike, your cousin Eli, he's got a music gig, side gig, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have a sound system, soundboard, and we got the mains and the monitors. I mean, it's not the biggest system in the world, but if the venue is small enough, you guys used it for Heart of Glass in Rockford, and
Yeah.
it worked pretty well, for a park.
Yeah, it's just not waterproof.
It's not no. Get the tarps.
Tom, we were killing it for an hour and 10 minutes, and then God said, "Show's over."
Yeah, it's been a rough summer. It's like rain Thursday through Saturday for the first half of the summer.
Oh God.
Yeah, it has been difficult for sure.
So Tom, how'd you get into music? I see the guitar on the wall. Is it dusty or you play it?
I have not played them in quite some time publicly. I do play around the house and whatever, but once you start doing the business end of stuff, it kind of takes away from the joy of it.
Yeah.
I haven't played out in a very, very long time, but I played, I toured, I did the whole 9 yards, original stuff, back in my younger days. So yeah, that's how I got into it.
Yeah. How long have you been on the production side of things, booking and all that?
About 17 years or so.
Holy crap. Where did you start booking?
I started actually doing open mics at coffee shops. That's how I got kind of really started. So when I was first starting out, I used to do like open mics at coffee shops, and I would book like their acoustic acts, and then I would rent out like church halls and facilities and whatever, and produce shows. That's when all like the hardcore and metal stuff and the Warped Tour kind of stuff was really popular. So we'd rent out a a church hall in downtown Naperville and have 200 kids moshing in there. Those are the good days. And that's kind of how I got started. And then, eventually just kind of work into cover bands and just kind of go from there.
Yeah. Were you ever in a band yourself?
Yeah. Several. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Before you got on the show, Bongo Mike and I were talking about how rough it is to do a band, manage the personalities, manage the expectations. We got this Blondie thing going, and we're about a year in, and it's basically everybody's had enough of each other, which, Tom, I'll talk to you about later because we got something going on in September, and we'll make sure we have something there for a crowd. But managing the expectations from the business side and the creative side, that's such a sticky wicket. And we'll get into the production side of things, but on the creative side of things, it's, I just want to get on stage. I don't care what I wear. I don't care how much I make. I just want to go up, do 60 minutes, get off the stage and drink some beers and go back home. And then some people want to go up and play 92 hours, buttoned up, professional, and require more money and do it more often. When you were coming up, Tom, how did you manage those expectations? Or did you say, you know what, I had enough of this creative side. I want to get on the business end of things? Because that's where the rub comes in. It's like creative or subjective always clashes against business and objective.
Yeah. Well, that's why when you get to the national level, there's managers and agents, producers, marketing teams, and PR, because the artist should just be creative. In the level of local stuff, you are kind of wearing all the hats for the most part. Creative minds don't necessarily usually have the business mind and vice versa. Creative minds are maybe less logical, they think more outside the box. They're not really numbers people. They're not really
emotional.
Yeah, exactly. And the creative people should be there to create, and the business people should just kind of set everything up so they go in and create. When you're doing a national band, you're not talking to the band. You're talking to their manager. They show up, they do their show.
Yep.
And they get out and they move on to the next thing, and they're kind of in their own little bubble. And that really helps to mitigate your dealing with all the different weird personalities and kind of hang-ups that bands will have, because a lot of bands disagree with how much they want to play, how much they want to make, how long of a show they want to do, all that good stuff. It's very rare to find ones that all gel together for a very long time, especially if you're like any couple or partnership. You will get on each other's nerves. When you spend that much time with someone, you will get on each other's nerves. And the little things you do will kind of trigger you. And that's just kind of being easygoing about it helps for sure. That's not everyone's personality.
Oh, yeah. Personalities. Look, hey, Tom, we just met each other. I'm an acquired taste. But Bongo Mike, he's always smiley. Everybody loves him. Okay.
Yeah.
16 Candles. The Tuff curls, how the staying power of that, what do you think is, because I think they have a mixture of both, or you have 5 people that they get the creative side and they get the business side, like Tuff curls, those shirts and the shorts, I mean, they're always in sync, you know what I mean? Like, where do you think that comes from?
I think they got the right group of people together. I work with a band called Dick Diamond and the Dusters, and they've been around for 15 years, maybe something like that. They dress up in leisure suits and they have a good time with it. But off stage, they thoroughly enjoy hanging out with each other. Like, they will hang out with each other when they're not playing. And I think that's you got to have that chemistry. And I think those bands have that chemistry. Like, yes, I'm sure they butt heads over some things. Anyone will do that. You got to have that right group of people that's going to have the chemistry. And, Rod Tuff Curls with the gimmick and the dress up, like,
yeah.
On it. If they weren't all in on it, it wouldn't work. But they are. They're all having fun with it, and they enjoy it, and it's goofy, and they're doing well, which helps. When you're doing well, that helps a lot.
When you say well, do you mean like regional? Because they're Indiana, they're Wisconsin, they're Illinois,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and they're doing great numbers. People say very good things about them,
Yeah,
and that helps. If you're struggling and in a weird position, that's a whole different ballgame.
yeah,
But
yeah.
when you're doing well and everyone gets along, you're firing on all cylinders. It's a great thing. You could go on forever.
Now, do egos come into play? Because other people want credit than other people. If you can get 5 people, it's me, or it's all of us all together, team as one. That kind of comes into play, doesn't it?
Yeah, egos are a big thing. But I think, everyone's got an ego to an extent. You have to have a certain amount of ego to want to get on stage and have people look at you.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of managing that, knowing how to deal with someone else's versus yours. And when maybe the most professional have been able to, you're able to tell them, hey, tone it down, like keep it in check. And they understand that. They don't blow up on you. You're like, yeah, I was being a little crazy. Sorry, I'll tone it down, right? It's when they have the ego of like, you can't tell me what to do kind of thing, or no constructive criticism. And it's like that in every industry, right? If you can't take constructive criticism or take someone else's opinion seriously and respectfully, it's not going to work anywhere.
Well, you probably have a good way of saying that, Tom, better than I do.
Yeah, it kind of depends. You learn over time, but just being very, I can be very blunt with people and just be like, hey, like, but people respect that.
Yeah. Well, you're in a position that I really hated Sunday mornings when it was a Saturday night bad show, and I get that phone call from one of the Loukases. What the fuck did you guys do?
Yeah,
killed it. We blowed the doors out of it. You hear nothing, right? But
yes, yeah. That's I get the oh, did you get a report? And I'm like, no news is good news. Like that's what it is. No news is good news. Yeah.
So from the production side, what are you looking for to put? Because you got to fill. My God, I don't even know how big those places. You got 1,500 at least, or at least that's what you tell the government to put at Cubby Bear. Like, what do you look for to put in that place?
Cubby Bear is a tricky one.
Yeah.
It's the city. The city's tricky. The crowd there is typically very young in the city. A lot of times people have their families. They get out to the burbs, so it's constantly changing. It's very diverse. The city is incredibly diverse.
Yeah.
We do a lot of original stuff over there, which is kind of cool. But that's what a lot of that age demographic is into, is they come out, support their friends, whatever. Really what I'm looking for, I have a stock, and it sounds kind of shallow, but I have a stock template I send out to all bands when they reach out. I'm like, hey, send me your social media links, send me your website if you have one, whatever.
How important are those two?
Very.
Okay. Yeah. Continue.
Very, very important. Yeah. And then the next thing is send me over the attendance numbers for your last 4 public ticketed shows. I don't want to know about festivals. I don't want to know about free shows. I want to know how many people paid to come see you. And then I basically
PollStar.
Yeah. And I have a PollStar, but you know what? A lot of small venues don't report to that.
We should make our own PollStar, Tom. Seriously.
It would be very helpful. I've been approached by several web developers about booking platforms, basically.
Yeah.
And every single one of them, they're like, well, how do you decide bands? I'm like, what the return on investment is going to be.
Right.
And if there was a database that had that, I have it all internally in my stuff, but I don't know what, Tin Roof is doing down the street, because I don't book them, so I don't know what they're doing. So yeah, it helps to have that. And then, from a band's perspective, just being honest about it. Don't say, oh, we had 20 people, but we could have had 50. Like, no, just say you had 20 and own it. And then I know, oh, well, I can't put you on a night by yourself, but I can team you up with another band. Doesn't mean you're not going to get a shot. It just means that it's got to be more strategic, and the money has to be commensurate with your draw. So yeah, Cubby Bear is a lot of that, because they don't, they're doing music Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like, there's a lot of bands that you need to fill up that calendar.
Now is MER still over there?
MER just had an event a couple weeks ago.
How'd it go? Can I blow him some shit?
It went okay. He's always got super
Oh, it
talent.
sucked.
It went right on par with how his shows normally do.
Okay, all right.
It
I'll
was
go
a
easy
Wednesday
on him.
night. Yeah, no, it was a Wednesday night. You're not packing the place on a Wednesday, but it's a respectable, good night. Um, he's been doing those there for God knows how long. It's been so long.
Yeah. Well,
But
but Tom, I'm making light about September 27th. That's where the
yep,
CareerBuilder Inside Sales Reunion is going to happen, and
yeah.
I have got, oh my goodness, thousands of inside salespeople that I've trained over the course of the year. They're all going to come in and they all
Mhm.
want to see us go up on stage and do something. So whatever it's called, we will be up there, but I will let you know what it is. I won't leave you hanging, Tom. But
Yeah.
but that being said, I think that is a great idea on you have PollStar up here for national, maybe regional, but local would be something like you could give an incentive. Think of it like a Glassdoor for bands to rate the venue. I don't know how you would feel about that. Oh, the green room sucks or whatever, but here's our draw, here's what we got paid, here was our rate, and you put it out there. How do you feel about letting everybody know what a band got paid?
No, I won't do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and there's several reasons. There are certain instances that do ruin the market. This is a free market
Yeah.
situation, and yeah, I'm sure you guys have been around for a while. You see a band gets paid a boatload of money on a gig, and then they think they deserve that on every gig. And whether or not that gig went well, like, oh, we got paid $3,500 on this, we should get
Right.
paid that every time, and it's like, no, someone made a misjudgment and they overpaid, or you told them that you were going to do XYZ and you didn't, and they got stuck with the bill,
Yep.
and it kind of ruins the market. So and then there's other instances where okay, if it's a door deal type of situation or whatever,
90% door.
yeah, like something like that, then yeah, that makes sense to kind of share or whatever. Because then from a talent buyer perspective, you kind of know what the draw is. From other bands'
Yeah.
perspective, draws. But yeah, the whole sharing of information is, like,
But if
I'll
you
do
got
it. What's that?
I'm sorry, Tom, I keep cutting you, but if you got PollStar, you know what a venue's capacity is, you know what the ticket charge is, you kind of get an idea what the band is going to get. So it's it because my old buddy Brad Altman, we had him on the show last week. When we like to relive our old days from 30 years ago when Cubby Bear was nightclub venue of the year. That was the strategy between Brad, who was the Tom Hartman back then, Q Productions. They would overpay for bands so Jam wouldn't get them, and we put them in there. Okay, great, we won, venue of the year, and then uh, it came again to an ego thing where somebody wanted all the credit, and that's where Brett, Bongo Mike, that's kind of where I'm talking to you about.
Yeah.
There was an article in the Reader where Brad's smoking a cigar, and that was it. It blew the whole thing up, you know. So if you go back and you see it, that's where these ego things come in. Because at the end of the day, you just want to know that, hey, I need to set up this calendar for how many weeks out? 8 weeks out, Tom?
I'm booked through the end of the year at this point.
So eight,
So
and then New Year's Eve, that's a big one. When do you commit on New Year's Eve?
New Year's Eve for Cubby Bear is strange because they typically do a bar crawl. So
Wait, what?
yeah, I think there's typically something going on. I want to say they did or something with like a promotion company.
Okay,
Like
okay,
Halloween weekend is like
okay.
always another big one, but they always do a bar crawl, and that so you kind of got to pair up entertainment with that, because that's going to bring in thousands of people throughout the kind of like T-Box, but
Yeah, yeah.
they've expanded to a bunch of different stuff. So New Year's Eve has changed, just like Black Wednesday over the course of the years. Bands are not as in demand for New Year's Eve as they were before. Um,
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Because all the bands want, twice as much money, and with the DUI laws and how on top of it the police are, people don't want to be driving on New Year's Eve.
That's true.
So if you're not attached to a hotel, you're not able to get big tickets, big money from people to get in and drink packages and whatever.
Yeah.
And it gets a little dicey. So a lot of people just throw a DJ on that can just do a variety of stuff. And then they just kind of roll with that. And then it's not, yes, it's still a good night, but it's not like it was.
Right. Okay. So
yeah,
lower risk, the better.
that's especially nowadays. Yeah. Over the past 10 years, it's been like that, but especially nowadays, I think COVID changed a lot of how
Yeah.
people
Talk to us about that.
It changed a lot. People value their time much differently. It's a lot of times people want more than just one thing to go experience while they go somewhere. So, craft breweries, wineries, things like that, where it's more of like a multifaceted experience as opposed to just going out to have a beer or whatever. They're looking for a little bit more. They're looking for more value.
Yeah.
People definitely, realized over COVID how much more economic it is to drink at home.
Yeah.
And also with the legalization of marijuana, there is that whole end of things, where people will maybe partake in that and then they don't drink as much, or that's just what they do and they just kind of hang out and whatever. There's been a lot of changes over the past, decade or so of kind of how the market is.
I didn't even think about that. The weed. I mean, you have a couple Cokes and you're like, because it used to be, let's just, I don't know how it's affected post game. And Tom, I don't know if you're involved with that, but you get maybe 90 minutes to make a lot of money. You got to wash the room out and bring in, a show. And I don't even know if post game are they coming in and staying that long. Have you noticed anything with post change just from cleaning the room?
So post game they do a DJ because it can do whatever you want,
right?
Whatever, country, pop, hip hop, whatever. And it's the same, same thing, 90 minutes, 2 hours after the game, it's slammed, then people start filtering out. It gets very busy post game still. But then, like you said, it's at 90 minutes, 2 hours, and then people start filtering out after they've kind of, heck, if they've probably been in Wrigley all day, so
that's right. Anything past 90 minutes, I'm just saying it's like it's not the money that comes in for the risk of a lawsuit or whatever. So, but you as a booking music in, unless you have like a national act, were you around for Foo Fighters?
No, I was not.
So was that Duff?
Yeah, that was probably Duff. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Bongo Mike, the reason I bring it up, and I'm sorry, Tom, you got to relive the old days, but this is what we do. It's the history of the Cubby Bear and George and Stacey and the whole family. We had a post game. I don't know. Somebody's going to correct me. I'm sure I'll get 3 or 4 emails. It's either St. Louis or whoever it was, a rival. And we had to make the money, get the people the hell out of there. And we had Johnny Cash coming in. And we talked about Johnny Cash last week, Bongo Mike. And I know Brad talked about that, but it's such a diverse venue. Because if you really go back into the history, Wrigleyville wasn't that great of a neighborhood, Tom. I mean, it was trash city. And I'm sure, Tom, you've heard of Jam Productions, right? It was the place where Tom and Jerry would dump all their crap in. And when I say crap, at the time, this was punk, okay? And this is when, let's see, punk happened in 76. This would have been like probably the 80s that Jam would dump all the crap punk stuff in. And Tom, did you ever see that video of George on YouTube with the punk? Baseball during the day and punk at night? No, I'm gonna put it right here.
days, the Cubby Bear Lounge is probably the busiest bar in the city, an hour and a half before and after the game. The Cubby Bear Chicago's #1 baseball bar. It's been here for as long as Wrigley Field has been, I believe.
I always come to the Cubby Bear. This is a good watering hole.
Tradition.
Yeah.
I come every year to the Cub opener. Last year it rained. We stayed here all day.
I'll tell you one thing, you don't have to look very far in this bar before you find somebody who knows a lot, and I do mean a lot, about the Cubs. Tell me about Dallas Green.
I think he's a great general manager. He's going to bring the Cubs up to #1 someday.
Tell me about the Cubs this year.
I don't know. I think they have a good chance if the pitching can hold up and stuff.
How come you're not at work?
Well, I woke up this morning and I wasn't feeling very well, you know, and then all of a sudden the Cubs fever got me here, so I decided to come out here.
So you do have a fever, it's just Cubs fever.
Yeah, Cub fever, that's all it is. I'll get over tomorrow.
You don't even need to talk to the patrons to discover that the Cubby Bear is definitely Cubs territory. All you have to do is look around.
Now, from what you've seen so far, you might be tempted to think that the Cubby Bear caters exclusively to the Chicago sports fan. But every once in a while, this place pulls a real chameleon act and changes its colors from Cubs blue to punked out purple.
Although no liquor is served, and this may look like a barroom brawl, it isn't. These kids are just slam dancing. Cubby Bear owner George Loukas explains the bar's transformation.
A few years ago, I wanted to be able to compete with some of the local bars that had entertainment. We had no business here, and the only people that would come in here to play for the door were the least desirable bands. I know Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig on the wall would sort of frown a little bit if they saw some of our punk bands that came in here, but I'm sure the Babe would understand.
And how do the punkers feel about the Cubby Bear?
It's great. The managers are so cool. They let us play. You know, most places won't.
Most places won't even let us in, especially underage people. It's really hard to get a place to play.
I think it's really a great place. It's something always happening, you know, whether it's, you know, after a Cubs game or whether it's like tonight, you know, it's always a great place to go.
But whether you're a punker or a jock, just about everybody who goes to the Cubby Bear is a Cubs fan.
I'm a Cubs fan all the way.
I go to the games as often as I can, you know. I like the Cubs.
I love the Cubs. I've been a Cub fan since I was a little tyke.
The Cubs, my sister likes them, and I went to one game when I was like in 5th grade.
When I edit it. But you hear George talking about all the Cub fans. I mean, you're talking all the idiots like me and you, Mike, with the Cub, you know, like a Cub hat on. Hey, this is a great place. And then you have the skinheads. When I'm talking skinheads, I'm talking about Mohawks, the whole 9 yards. I mean, that was the place to go to have punk music. And then, of course, Jeff Tweedy's wife, Susy Miller, she went in and then booked the music, and it kind of developed from there. So it's just interesting to see how the transformation has gone on. And again, Tom, George Loukas took the risk way back then on people like you, me, Tuff, Mike, Yerke, Brad, to say, go ahead, you can have this access to my money, but you better give me a return on it or there's hell to pay. And I think Stacey's a lot nicer than George.
Yes, I would assume so. Yeah.
All right. We'll edit that in post. No, we won't. But no, Tom, it's a fun thing to talk about because it's great to see the Loukases came in, Bongo Mike, I would say 1953. And if you look up on the Cubby Bear wall, you'll see Gus Loukas and Sophie Loukas. That's George's mom and dad, and it came over in 1953. They got some money. I would say one of the brothers got a contract from the Buffalo Bills, and they rolled it to buy Sports Corner, I believe, and then got Cubby Bear. the Greek dream, and to see it, building up the way it is, it's such a great thing to see. And then Tom, you're holding the torch now and making sure you're just trying to not lose as much money as the last booker.
Yeah, and also keeping a diverse array of entertainment in there too is something that, it is important to us. We try comedy nights, we try live band karaoke, we try, really if there's something we think we want to take a stab at, we'll take a stab at it. Because live music's great, but being able to give some variety and then being able to not just solely rely on that is also very nice. So, all of that kind of stuff is, we do a lot with like School of Rock. We do the School of Rock things in there. Rock and Roll Playhouse, doing some of that in there, which is very, very important to introduce it to the next generation of musicians and all that good stuff.
Bongo Mike, you do, I'm going to butcher this up. What do you call it when you guys do it for charity? You get a bunch of musicians together, you go to Sundance Saloon and
the Coterie?
Coterie, yeah. I'm sure Tom's heard of it, but tell the listeners and everything.
So basically what that is it's Mike Dermont is kind of the mastermind behind that. And he puts together a show. He's got one coming up this month at the Broken Oar, and they're doing songs and movie soundtracks. And he will assemble 35 to 40 musicians. I've been involved in 2 of them. I did I Love the 80s in April, and then last year we did One Hit Wonders, and I did that one. And each time he's getting these musicians together, and they sign up for the songs, and then basically you'll have like 2 practices. It's usually dictated by who's singing the songs, and it's usually about 40 songs, give or take. And we get together and we basically run those songs once or twice, and then we roll out the show, and all the proceeds go to the American Heart Association or, the Cancer Federation, something like that. So it's basically a charity event. The musicians do not get paid. Their time and effort is done simply, to raise as many dollars as we can in the evening. And they're always a great success. And the camaraderie between all the musicians that get to do this and the people I've met by doing those 2 it's really been great. I mean, it's some of the best people, that I probably would have never met. I might have watched them play in their respective bands, but I didn't get a chance to share the stage with them. And so, yeah, I got involved in that the last couple of years. He'll maybe call on me again. He's talking about doing a all Motown. So he'll get a bunch of, I'm sure he'll get some horn guys, some backup singers. It's really a great, event, and it's highly promoted. And like I said, we usually anywhere between, maybe $5,000 to $8,000 is raised. It's not huge because it's one night, but it's still a good chunk of money for that, organization that he selects. And each time it's a different organization. So yeah, it's a good thing.
So
That's awesome.
So MER has his songwriters thing on Wednesday, right? Or I wonder, I know Cubby Bear does their own charities and whatnot, and they don't get a lot of publicity because they don't look for it. But what are some of the great things that Cubby Bear has done in the past, Tom, that you've seen?
Like I said, we do a lot with School of Rock. I've been working with School of Rock in my other places for years, and I kind of brought them in to Cubby Bear.
That's genius, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you get any of the adult bands in there or just the kids?
All of the above. Adults, kids, yeah. Even some from out of state. They'll take these kids on tour and like do a string of dates. And it's such a, music lessons are great. Kids should learn music, but learning how to do it in a band is a whole different ballgame. It's that ego and chemistry you were talking about earlier.
Keep going.
And you see these kids grow over the years. I mean, I've been working with the DuPage School of Rock chain for 7-8 years, and I've seen these kids go and then graduate and go to college, and then you see them in bands later on. And they're like, oh yeah, this was a School of Rock band. I met these kids at School of Rock. And it's just so important to give them that good, positive experience and not scare them before they get out, you know?
Tom, you know what it is on that School of Rock? First of all, I like School of Rock because occasionally I like to have a challenge. For me, music is, look, I played ball. I got all my joints replaced. I can't go run a marathon, but what I can do is learn 23 songs, go up on the stage and it's 90 degrees. And do I pass out or not? Okay, that's my challenge. Okay, that's my marathon. But these kids, when you do School of Rock, yeah, if you give them, here, learn this tablature, okay, Bill Bass or whatever, remember Bill Bass, whatever that was, versus, hey, you know what? You're going to go up there with 4 other people and it's a group. And if you don't practice, you're going to go on stage, you're going to let the group down. That makes them want to practice and learns the discipline. And I think that's fantastic. So for that on School of Rock, that's genius, Tom.
Yeah. So I'm a big supporter of that, and so brought them in there. They do a lot of stuff over there. And then, you know, there's other organizations every once in a while that hold their fundraisers over at the Cubby Bear.
Yeah.
And we always kind of give them their fair shake. You know, those, you know, get good priority over there because it's nice to have stuff like that. It's good to be given back.
All right, Tom, can I ask some band advice?
Sure.
Okay. Is there a difference between a tribute band and a cover band?
Yes, absolutely.
When you pick up the phone and somebody says they're a cover band, what's going through your mind?
Well, as far as like what they do, I just assume they're doing a variety of whatever genre they're doing.
So it's taking you longer to think to make a decision, right? First of all, you don't know what they draw. And when they do covers, you have to hear what covers they do, right? Versus I'm a Taylor Swift tribute band.
Yeah, that tells you what it is right there. Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that's like an easy. So okay, I get it. Okay, what's next? What was your last 4? That's great. Your last 4 draws, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the whole tribute band thing, I mean, it's so hot right now. And the reason I think for that is you don't necessarily have to market your band. You market what you're paying tribute to.
Yeah.
You know, Cashmere might not be the best example because they have a very well-known name. But let's just use Cashmere for an example.
Yeah, go ahead.
They're Led Zeppelin tribute. You know, you market Led Zeppelin tribute by Cashmere or whatever, you know. But Led Zeppelin is what people are attaching to when they see that marketing. Whereas cover band, you got a list, oh, we do this and we do these 20 bands and whatever. And it's just a little bit too much information to grab people unless they know who you are.
Yeah.
The reach, the marketability is just not there as much with the cover band. And the tribute bands are, you know, they're doing well right now, which is great. I think it's fun.
Well, it's all about sales and setting expectations, right, Tom? People know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
First of all, you have to verify. Can I go on YouTube and see them play? Are they for real? Is there more than 3 videos up? And that brings me to another question. When do you like really research a band if they say, hey, I want to play your club, you know, look at my videos, and there's 2 videos versus 400. Which do you choose?
It's quality. It's quality over quantity, you know, like, and I'll be very honest with bands. If they reach out and they've got 1 or 2 videos of like, it's just garbage, or I've seen a lot of bands, they'll do like a video promoting a show, but it's not actually any content that I can look at as a talent buyer.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, what do you actually sound like live? I'll be like, hey, you need to get actual live footage or something where I can tell what you actually sound like. It's super important. You know, I always have to check out what they sound like.
Do you care what the sound quality is? Because the majority of people they have their cell phones up versus being plugged into the soundboard, or just want to see what the vibe is and the experience on the stage.
there's a few things I look at. The first is quality for me for booking doesn't matter. If you're using it to market your shows, absolutely. But for me as a talent buyer, I'm looking at if they're playing the songs well or if they sound good, how many people are in front of the stage engaging, and if the band is presentable, which that's kind of neither here nor there.
That's
more,
a big one, Tom. What does that mean? Seriously.
Like, it's not so much important with like a cover band or a variety thing, but if you're a tribute band, if you're an Elton John tribute band, I want you to look like Elton John. You know, there are some bands that it's hard to do that with, like Pearl Jam. Okay, you can do flannel, but like, you know, they don't really have a look other than that. Yeah. They kind of are t-shirt and jeans and flannel kind of guys. But if you're doing like, you know, someone that has a look, you better look like that band. Otherwise, you're a cover band playing the songs. Basically, is how I see
it. Amen, brother. I get it. So
I got a question. I got a question for Tom, because I struggle with this. We've been together for 24 years as a band. You have booked us, I believe. We're the Mosquitoes.
Oh yeah,
we actually have to go by the Mosquitoes Jam Band because there was some other band in Florida that had the name. And, you know, we played festivals, you know, Northbrook, Morton Grove, you know, Palatine. We've done the fest, Long Grove, whatever. The only thing I have the hardest time booking are the concerts in the park. And I got to tell you, we're a cover band. We cover Fleetwood Mac. We cover Santana. We do a good job. I mean, we're professionals, but it is so hard to break into those Wednesdays and Thursdays concert in the park. And everybody's got them in the summer. Every village has them, and it's like there's a committee. We've done a couple of them over the years, but it seems like it's been the elusive one that's hard to nail. What's good advice for a band trying to break into those, trying to get into those concerts in the park where I know we would do well playing 70s and 80s music?
Yeah. A lot of research needs to go into it. Who is actually the person doing the booking? Because if you're just emailing the general village or park district email, it's never going to get to that person. And you need to have a good promo video. And that's where the quality versus quantity thing really comes into play. If you have one or two good videos, look at any really busy wedding band. And Maggie Speaks is a great example. They have great video. And park districts and whatnot are not much different than wedding clients. They don't book things for a living. Their job is not to focus on their concert series. Their job is to get community engagement. Yeah. So they are looking at what's flashy, what looks good, what's well polished. And you could have two bands. They could be the exact same talent, exact same everything. But if one has a better video, they're going to get the gig. So having that really nice EPK, somewhere where they can just go one place, that's where websites are really important. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, a one-page website where you have your video, a little blurb, promo picture, but it has to be good. Yep. And that's where a lot of bands kind of miss the boat is Facebook's great, but if I have to scroll and click through a bunch of stuff to find a couple of good videos, I probably have lost interest. Yeah. And I do this for a living. Like, someone who is doing 20 other different things is not going to go through and do that. They want it all right there. Yeah. I know there's studies that show just how the human attention span has shortened so much with social media and stuff like that, and everything flying at you. Yeah. That same concept goes with every kind of sales, and what you're talking about is sales. You are trying to sell yourself to these events.
Yeah. Tom, where I'm conflicted on that one is you want to see people dancing in front of the stage. You want to see women dancing in front of the stage multiple times. And it's kind of a conflict. The quality of the video, wow, this is 4K video, but there's nobody in front of the stage versus, oh my God, there's 100 women going out of their mind dancing in front of the stage. It's kind of a subjective thing. So I ask you, what is the ideal time for a sizzle reel?
Yeah. Well, let me address the first part of that.
Go ahead.
So, and I can't speak for everyone, but it's very clear when someone does a video at Jam Lab or whatever, a studio video. Like that to me is very clear. And I know I'm not looking for who's in front of the stage, right? Because it's, now if it's a professional video from Sundance Saloon, I know that was probably a public show and, whatever, they hired in a crew to come shoot it. But if it's like a studio shot video, I don't consider the draw thing. I don't consider the people dancing in front of the stage thing.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when it's in a club or somewhere like that, Sizzle reel, 90 seconds, 2 minutes. I'll do promo videos with bands and I'll advise them on them, whatever. And I give everyone the same advice. Just do the chorus. When you're shooting it, if you're doing a studio video or whatever, do the chorus 5 times. Pick your best take. Don't do the other stuff. Just do what people know, because as a musician, it can be hard to separate yourself from that. That's where the management versus the creative mind comes in.
Yep.
As a creative, as a musician, we play this bridge phenomenally, where we nail every note. We have this cool take on it. No one cares. The people that you're marketing to, they want to hear what they're familiar with. And,
connection.
Tanya from the whatever park district doesn't know what that bridge is, but they know the chorus of Jesse's Girl. They don't know the bridge leading up to it necessarily or coming out. They don't want to hear the guitar solo. They want to hear, the chorus, and that's what they're going to connect with. So, and when you look at a chorus, maybe a chorus is 15, 20 seconds long. I don't know, depending on the song. So you're, doing the few bars in, you do the chorus, bar or two out to do the crossfade, and then into the next song. And, another thing that kind of gets me, which I like it when bands do more obscure songs, just because I'm out running sound and whatever. So like I get bored listening to the same song. So I like that. But other people might not connect with them. And a band will say, oh, we do a bunch of B-sides. Well, that tells me no one knows what songs you're playing.
You can't educate the market. They don't want to be educated. They want to be entertained.
No, they don't. But why don't you pick some other popular songs? There's a lot of them, a lot of popular songs that no one really does.
Yeah.
You hear some stuff every once in a while by a cover band. You're like, that was a huge song, like Flagpole Sitta by Harvey Danger. No one does that song. That was a giant single.
Yeah.
So that could be your unique song that no one else does.
Tom, let me ask you some advice here, okay? Because, objective versus subjective, I want to put people in your club, okay? If you got Blondie, okay, you can do an obscure B-side of whatever Blondie did that was never successful when Blondie did it versus Blondie covering David Bowie's Heroes. Which song would you pick to put in the club?
Blondie doing Bowie's Heroes. Yeah.
100%.
That's kind of what kind of what I'm saying, because you want to be a tribute and you want to be true to the artist, but even when the artist did it, the song sucked. So you have you don't want to lose people. Like we say, Tom, I don't even know what it is now. If I stayed up unless I'm playing past 10 o'clock at night to get people to stick around in the club, you have to keep them going. And you break that vibe. They're out the door.
No break.
Yeah. No break after 9:30. Yeah. That's definitely, and yes, there are some caveats to that. There are some songs that are B-sides. They're like cult favorites or whatever. If you're talking Weezer, their Pinkerton album was not a commercial success, but it's big with those fans. And there's things like that. But yeah, as a general rule of thumb, that's not really the best way to go. Do what people know. If you want to scratch your creative itch, do the other stuff in rehearsal and, or in sound check or whatever. But at the same time, you do have to keep it interesting for yourself. that is important.
Yeah. That's the rub. It's for yourself. Because that's kind of where it is. It's a question of being selfish. Is it for you or is it for the crowd? If it's just for you and you're not paying attention to the crowd, nobody's going to show up and you're not going to book anybody, right?
Yep.
Right.
All right. Last question. And then if Mike has something, we'll let you off the hot seat here, Tom. Every show that I've done, I have done a live stream. What are your thoughts on bands doing live streams? Leaving all the bad stuff in and then cutting it later. So because there is just say, to be simple, we have moms out there. Some of us still have moms, and I would really love to play, but I can't get out and see you. I'd love to see you play, and you live stream it. And there are other people that, you know what, I don't want to go out on a Saturday night, but I'd love to see it. What are your thoughts on bands doing live streams?
That's an interesting question. I think that maybe not a live stream, but releasing it afterwards makes sense. Because effectively, if you are live streaming, you're telling people you don't have to come to the show, and that's taking revenue away from the club. Now, maybe, okay, case in point, a couple people, whatever, that's not going to make a huge impact. But let's say, I know they just said they're not doing it anymore, but let's say Aerosmith live streams their show at Soldier Field or whatever.
I wish I was them.
Right? But then people are not going to buy tickets to see the show. Now, they can monetize it and sell it, but you're not going to monetize your live stream for your mom and, whatever. So it is I don't have a clear-cut answer. I think in theory it's a cool idea, but
I think it's well, here you know Reggie's, right, Tom?
Yeah.
I am very impressed with what they do over there. Even though it's on the south side, I have an issue with that. It's all Sox fans, okay? And I let them know that. But the camera system that they have and the stuff they do on Twitch, I think that's where there's nothing better than seeing music live. There is nothing better. And there's only a certain amount of times where you can get people to go out, but you want to keep that attention. Holy crap, look at them dance. I want to be part of that scene. I will fight back on. I think there's something there that even if it's just watching a post game of the Cubby Bear, edit out the fights. But I think people say like, wow, look at what's going on. There's you want to be a voyeur of what's going on. I think a mixture of the two. I don't know. I've seen it, Tom, but I just want to throw it out there. So right now you're indifferent or you're thumbs down?
I'm thumbs down on it. What I'm thumbs up on is shooting your whole show and using it for marketing content for your next show. Giving people that FOMO from that going, oh, wow, that looks so great. I also think the live streaming thing is a slippery slope with the way people are now, at least with the younger generation. Older generation, not so much. But younger generation, you have the whole social ineptitudes. And
wait, hold on. What does that mean?
They don't know how to have a conversation. They don't know how to be social. They don't know how to go to. They don't know how to go and be in a crowd and become. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, go to a restaurant. Someone's significant other gets up and they're instantly on their phone. They can't just sit there and exist. They have to be in. And I think there's already a lot of that kind of voyeurism of people living vicariously through their phones and their screens. I was setting up at a gig and I saw some kids riding by on their bicycles. And I was like, that's really great to see kids riding on their bikes and I'm like, Jesus, first off, how old am I to have that thought? And second off, like, that's crazy to even cross my mind that it's nice to see kids outside playing. You don't see it as much because they're living, through their screen.
Yeah.
I think that's also another slippery slope too, because if that were to be massively adopted, the actual live experience of that energy in the room would slowly dissipate. You wouldn't have, because you can watch a show live on your computer screen or on your TV, but you don't have the energy of having the people around you in that whole environment, that atmosphere.
Yep.
So I'm not sure how I feel about perpetuating that like
Right,
slow,
right.
slow fall.
Well, it's
There's
the same.
actually
It's the same thing that the NFL had with blackout dates. So it's, you know, should we show it on TV or not? And I think look at the TV contract rights. So I think having streaming contract rights, I do believe that could be something in the future. I'm sorry, Tom, I'm 10 years ahead of everybody. That's just the way I was brought up. But,
there is a venue. It's on Ashland,
yeah.
and it's an old church. Oh God.
Oh
The
yeah.
Epiphany Center.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was around there when they were building it up. I was doing some stuff with a production company in there, and kind of like they were showing us all the live streaming stuff, and they were doing that heavy, and it was really cool idea. But they were monetizing it and whatever, and there was a very in introducing people all over the country to, you know, Toronto Canon and things like that, you know.
Right.
Really cool. You know, that's where the plus side of it is there are no limits to where the internet can reach.
The downside is I've had people from North Carolina. When can you come out here and play? Well, give me a couple of clubs. And will they do airfare?
Give me a theater that's gonna, you know, fly me in.
Yeah,
you know, that's absolutely. So that is an interesting concept. Actually, it's funny. School of Rocks do that, and for that same reason, because they have family members.
You want to see the families, yeah,
exactly. So they do that, and that's a nice. I think that's great for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is an interesting concept.
Well, we'll put everything right here, and then Tom, if you want to send me any pictures, videos, or whatever, we'll put it in.
Yeah, for sure.
Tom, listen to last week's show. Brad, the guy I worked with, you know why Smashing Pumpkins never played at Cubby Bear?
I don't.
Okay, you know where the banquet room is above Cubby Bear?
Yeah.
That used to be like really crappy apartments and band rehearsal spaces. I think we had the Rippingtons or some jazz act that came in and was playing. Like we're all wearing ties in the Cubby Bear, high end. And all
I think
of
it was
sudden,
was it John McLaughlin? He said.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it was John McLaughlin.
Obviously, I didn't know. All I know is I had to dress up, and we're like, okay, everything's got to be okay. George and his dad are in there, and all of a sudden you hear, wow, wow, wow. Get up there and tell that effing band that there's a real band down here playing. I had to run up there and yank all the cords, and Corrigan.
It was Corrigan.
They went to Metro, and that was it. That was it.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah.
I get the actual story from last week. Now, Tom, as we get older, the stories change.
They get better, right? They get more.
They get better. Hey, Tom, you're good. You're a good sport, man. You want to do this again sometime? Give us an update. What's going on over there, Wrigley?
Would be more than happy to. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.